Good evening and welcome to the May 28th, 2020 meeting of the Yorktown Zoning Board of Appeals. My name is Gordon Fine. I chair the board. Joining me tonight, albeit virtually, is Bob Fahey, Bill Gregory, John Meistrick, our newest member, Anthony Tripodi, who was a member, left the board, now is back again. Our special counsel, Adam Rodriguez, our building inspector, John Landy, and our secretary, Glenda Daly. First thing we need to do is I'm going to read you some directions since doing this virtually for this meeting for the first time.
You're on mute.
This meeting is being broadcast live on the town cable TV channels. If you would like to join and participate in this Zoom meeting, click the registration link on the town's website calendar page for this meeting. All meeting participants will remain without video and on mute until their items called in order to simplify the view on the screen. Those joining by computer can use that chat function in Zoom to contact the meeting host, Robin, if needed. If you are a member of the public and would like to speak during the public comment portion of an application, please raise your hand by clicking the raise hand button on the bottom of the participants list or send a chat message to the host. You may request to speak or have the host read your comments or questions. Please do not speak until invited to do so by the chairman or host, and identify yourself by stating your name for the record. If you're joining the Zoom by phone only, all phone calls will remain on mute in order to minimize background noise. Press *9 to raise your hand to the host to indicate you would like to speak. When you are invited to speak, please identify yourself by stating your name for the record. If you're watching this meeting on television and would like to comment on an item, you may call into the Zoom meeting using the phone number and meeting information shown in the host box on the screen. Remember to tell the host you would like to comment, click the raised hand button on the bottom of the participants list. Send a chat message to the host using the chat button on the bottom of the Zoom window, or if you're on the phone, press *9. That being said, move on to our meeting. First thing we need to do is set up next month's meeting. So if you're on the new business agenda tonight, you must send out your mailings for next month's meeting on between June 1st and June 10th. The meeting is going to be held on June 25th, probably once again virtually. But the mailings must still be sent out between June 1st and June 10th. To determine who you send your mailings to, you contact the town's tax office, tell them you're sending out a zoning application, and you need to know who your neighbors are that you have to contact. You'll have a form from the application that lists, blanks on if you list who you have to send the applications to, the notices to, and their addresses. You get those addresses and names from the tax office, write them down on that form, and you have to submit the form to the town attorney's office before the next meeting, showing who you sent it to, along with a copy of the notice. You also have to send the mailings out by first-class mail. They do not have to go out by certified mail, but they do have to go out by first-class mail, along with a certificate of mailing. Certificate of mailing is a simple form you get at the post office that shows that you mailed that item on a specific date to a specific person. So you must submit to the town attorney's office before the next meeting, hopefully not the same day of, but before the next meeting, a copy of the notice you sent, the form stating who you sent it to, a copy of your sign affidavit with a photograph of the sign on the property, along with the affidavit being signed, and all of those white receipts from the post office showing when you mailed the notices out to your neighbors. If you're still doing it by certified mail for some reason, you don't need the green postcards. We only need the white receipts showing when it was mailed, because not everybody signs to their certified mailings. Make sure you post your signs conspicuously on the property. Otherwise, we will not be able to open up your hearing at the next meeting if any of these items have not been complied with. So once again, the meeting is June 25th. The mailings must go out between June 1st and June 10th. Now that we're done with that, we need to go over last month's minutes. Actually, it's not last month, it was February's minutes, was the last meeting we had. Everybody on the board received a copy. Anybody on the board have any comments or questions on the minutes?
No.
Okay, that being said, I move that we approve the minutes of the February meeting. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. We'll now go on to the new business agenda. Now, these are all items that will be opened up hopefully next month. These applicants don't necessarily have to be with us tonight at the meeting. I don't know if they are or not, but I'm going to go through the agenda in any event. First application is Hannon, 1271 Baldwin Road, application for a special use permit for accessory apartment. We'll handle that administratively. Refer to the building department and public hearing next month. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Next one is Hoffman, 3808 Compound Road. Application renewal of the special use permit for accessory apartment. We'll handle that administratively. Refer to the building department and public hearing. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
One thing I left out about the meetings is normally we do site visits, but given the current situation, we're not going out in groups to do site visits anymore. If I say we're doing a site visit, what that means is the individual members of the board might come by to take a look at the property, but they are not going either onto your property or into your homes. They're just doing basically a drive-by to see what the property looks like.
Drones.
If the application you're asking for is something that is not visible from the street, like it's the back of a side yard or it's the rear of the house, it would be very helpful for us if you take a picture of the area where the application is for and submit it to the town attorney for the next meeting, so we have at least a photo of it, so we know what part of the house we're looking at. Moving on, we have Abrams, 3461-A Sagamore Avenue, application renewal of special use permit for accessory apartment. We'll handle that administratively. Refer to the building department and public hearing. Do I have a second?
Second.
In favor?
Aye.
Leffer, 387 Granite Springs Road. Application to allow a new dwelling on a lot with a side yard setback equal to the front of 27 feet. Where minimum is 40 feet is required. A front yard setback of 35 feet, where minimum of 40 feet is required. And a lot width of building at 97.1 feet, where minimum of 100 feet is required. This is again at 387 Granite Springs Road. We refer this to the building department. We'll refer to the planning department as well. Set it down for a site visit and public hearing. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Clifford, 1590 Amazon Road. Application allowed existing front handicap ramp and deck with the front yard setback of 27 feet, where a minimum of 40 feet is required. We refer to the building department, set it down for public hearing and a site visit. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Atlantic Appliance, 2010 Maple Hill Street. That's at the Triangle Shopping Center. Application to allow a roof and portico with a front yard setback of 67 feet, minimum of 75 feet is required. Properties at a C2 zone. We refer to the building department, refer it also to the planning department, set it down for a site visit. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
3D Development. You guys may not have this on your agenda. It was added late. 3D Development is 2710 Lexington Avenue. That's the golf range on Lexington Avenue. Application for special use permit for the storage of new vehicles. Refer this to the building department, planning department, conservation board, set it down for a site visit. County planning too, I think we'll refer it to. It's near Bear Mountain. And a public hearing. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, moving on to the adjourned agenda. We have Sarlo, which is 675 Sawmill River Road. That's been adjourned at the applicant's request. Actually says last adjourned was December 12th. I don't know what the current status is, but we'll adjourn it again. It was never opened with us.
Send a letter of inquiry.
It's been on for a while.
You'll do that. Ask our attorney to send a letter.
Not a problem.
Bucello, 608 Granite Springs Road, that's also adjourned. It's for a special use permit for accessory apartment. It's renewal. I don't know why that was adjourned. I asked that a letter go out to them as well. Then we have the Dorno. Rob, is the Dorno present?
Yes, John Scabelli's here, who is representing the.
Okay, so let me just read this in. This is Adorno. There's actually two applications on this. It's a 146 Cordial Road. Application to allow accessory structure with a side yard setback of 5.5 feet, where a minimum of 15 feet is required. Height of 17 feet 10 inches, where a maximum of 15 feet is required. And a combined footprint of all accessory structures of 86% of the main dwelling, where a maximum of 80% is allowed. Also have back of the agenda, application allowed existing shed with a rear yard setback of 6.5 feet, a minimum of 10 feet is required. So the new application, the mailings were in order. The old application is already open. Want to give us your appearance for the record, please?
Yes, this is John Scavelli. I'm the professional engineer representing John Adorno for the proposed application.
Memo on this. When we last left off on this, we had first started with the application for the accessory structure. Then the shed popped up, so we had to handle that as well. So we had everything put together. The memo from the building department dated March 12th. This is as to the shed, just as he's inspected the property, nothing further after that. So going back, let's go back to the first application first. When we left off, we had asked the building inspector, John, if you're there, we had asked for some input regarding the wood boiler law and the compliance that the applicant has had, because he's had a wood boiler there since the law was passed. We don't know if it's in compliance with the current code. Any information on that? This is John Land, your building inspector.
He's on mute.
I did get the information you did ask, but that was a while ago. I'm going to have to relook into it. I do remember something and talking to the owner, and the boiler is inside. So
Right.
It is not an outdoor wood boiler as our law says. It's a wood oil-fired boiler, which are allowed.
So that doesn't have anything to do with the code as far as outdoor boilers.
Correct.
And does it meet the required setbacks and measurements for a boiler of that nature in a wood structure?
Yeah, so it would. He was supposed to get me, if I remember correctly, he was supposed to get me all the documentation on it so I can present that. But I since all this happened, I don't think he did that.
Okay, so now let me ask the applicant, or the applicant's representative. The new structure that's being proposed is going to take the place of the current garage, isn't it?
Correct, that's correct.
So what's going to happen to the boiler?
So the boiler, they'd have to file the proper permit paperwork.
But is it going back inside the garage?
It would go back inside the new garage.
Okay, and as we discussed last time as well, we had asked what the necessity was for the height of the proposed garage. Made any lower?
Okay, yes. I mean, I do have some pictures and things to share regarding, if you're looking at from the street, so the owner is looking to have a slightly higher roof pitch to basically match with the height of his home. And if you look, the neighbor's home to the left is actually even higher than his home. So if you really look at the aesthetics from the streets, you'll see that at the current garage that's there, it's a flat roof. It's dilapidated. It's not really in character with basically the homes that are surrounding it. So the proposed application is actually to shift over the garage further from the current left side yard. So actually to make the nonconformity, less than what it currently is. And then, as part of the proposed variance is for additional height for the roof pitch of the garage as well.
What's going in the garage that the height has to be that high?
So it would just be storage. It would just be, garage storage for cars. There'd be the equipment, the boiler equipment in the back side of the garage.
We were talking about 2 feet 10 inches, correct?
Correct.
Would there be any problem with holding to the code to the 15 feet?
For the height?
Yeah, for the height.
Yes. So it's more of the aesthetic pitch that the owner, if they're looking to make this investment to, improve the garage and get rid of the old garage, they're looking to.
It's purely aesthetics.
Correct.
How would the height of the garage compare to the height of the house that it's next to?
So
the applicant's house.
Yeah, I do have a section, if that's helpful to share, that shows that. So I mean, the peak of the roof would be about at where the soffit height of the second story of the existing house is.
So the peak of the garage roof would be lower than the peak of the house roof.
Correct. Yes. Yeah, it would be much lower than the peak of the house roof.
Now, when we go to this is a pre-existing shed we're talking about. Is the other application correct?
Yeah, so to kind of summarize, as part of this application, there was a shed that was determined in the backside of the house that there was not a permit that was closed out. So that is actually a separate structure than the garage structure we're talking about. So that shed structure is actually, it only has a 6.5 foot setback from the rear yard, whereas a 10-foot setback is required. So that's part of the variance application is for that, the legalization of that existing shed at the rear side of the property.
What is that shed being used for now? Is it just storage?
It's just storage.
Does it have to be there? Could he, you know, we're 86% of the property is being utilized right now. If he would have removed that shed, wouldn't he be in compliance with as far as 80%?
Well, that's a different question. The question I was going to follow up with that, Bob, is the shed, since the garage application came before the shed application, was the shed's footprint built into that 86%?
Correct. So to answer your question there, yes, the coverage calculation was including that shed because that was included in the survey that was submitted.
So if you took that shed out, what would the coverage be?
I'd have to follow up on that. I do have some rough numbers here that I could probably. So, yeah, so that shed is.
The question is, you're allowed 80%. So if we can get it down to the 80, you wouldn't need a variance on that.
Correct. So if it's 369 feet and it's 80%, so that would put us at 24. Yeah, so if the shed were to be removed, it would put it just below, put it 190, it would put it just below the 80% mark.
Because the garage that you're looking to put in, is that bigger or the same size as the current garage?
It's slightly larger, and then it's also a slightly different location that actually pushes
It's also higher.
Higher, correct.
So if you're getting more storage because you're building a bigger garage with storage space on top, if we get rid of that shed, you're getting rid of the 86% that you need. Bring it back down to or below the maximum allowed.
Okay, yes. Yep, I see what you're saying.
Anybody else on the board have a comment on that part of it or any other part?
No, I already said my thought. I think we're on the same page as far as where we're going with that.
Anybody else?
I think this was the application that there are multiple accessory structures on the property. I think the history was that some were built, like this shed without zoning board approval, and then, became legalized through sort of a hardship process. And in the decisions, the prior zoning board decision that legalized maybe the pool house or something, said no more building of any sort with no more accessory structures of any sort without zoning board approval. So it's not just a matter that the shed is in the setback. The shed was built, against that prior decision. So the overall impression, I think, from the history is that we have a lot of accessory structures on this property. And I do have a big concern with the height because you're adding potential, livable footprint to the house in the sense of the second story of the garage. So I'm wondering if there's some form of a condition we could impose if we were to grant that, the floor can't be finished or something, a little unusual.
You can say it's storage only. The garage is storage only.
Well, the temptation, given the history of this property and the applicant, the quote unquote hardship route of getting variances approved like we're doing now, we're considering now for the shed or anything else, there's a huge possibility that something might be done against the decision and then, attempt to legalize it in the future.
I don't know what you could do to avoid that. You can't really say, you can't finish the inside of the storage area because that's an enforcement condition. You can't have the building inspector running out all the time to see if the upstairs was ever finished.
Right. So I guess the
From my
motion would be not to
perspective,
grant it.
From my perspective, I'd really like to get some more information on that wood burning stove inside.
What information?
I would too, in the sense of, does a wood burning stove in a garage maintain that this structure is a garage? We've had situations in the past where adding heat to a building turned it into a music studio and not an accessory structure. So I'm also wondering, maybe a John Landy question, if you have a boiler in an accessory building and you're calling that building a garage, is the building still accessory and is it still a garage?
Yeah, absolutely. You can heat a garage at any time you want.
Okay.
What makes it an accessory structure? Putting a bathroom in there? Or
It's not a main use.
No, it's not a main use. No, I'm more concerned about the fire safety aspect of it. I'd like to get some more information on that.
Well, what information specifically are you looking for? So you know what you get.
More specifically, what type of boiler are we sticking in there? What kind of building codes are applicable to it? Does it have anything to do with the variances that are being asked in terms of the height or location of the structure? Those kind of things. I think I would feel comfortable granting this thing or not granting it if I knew that a little bit more of that technical information.
Can the applicant supply more technical information regarding the boiler? Supplied to the board and the building department before the next meeting?
Yes, I mean, we could follow up on that. Yeah, I believe the owner, was kind of working through that process with all the specs.
So I'm going to ask that you follow up on that, get us more information of it before the next meeting. Anybody else on the board? Any comments? Anybody in the audience have any comments on this application? Now's the time to either raise your hand or hit *9 on your phone or whatever. So Robin, let me know if anybody wants to speak.
No one has indicated they wanted to speak.
So based upon that, I'm going to move that we adjourn both of the Adorno applications to next month's meeting. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay.
Okay, thank you very much.
Okay, the next application is Glenn. Glenn present.
Yes.
Yes, we're here, sir.
Okay, let me get your file out here. This is an application for proposed second floor addition with a rear yard setback of 21.08 feet. Minimum of 30 is required at 2032 Breton Court. Good evening. Can you give us your appearance for the record, please? Your name.
Sorry, what?
Just give us your name for the record, please.
Margaret
You
Glenn?
just state your name for the record.
Margaret Glenn?
Okay. All right, you want to give us, the mailings were fine according to our legal department. You want to give us a brief rundown on what your application is for?
Yes, one second. To be in front of what it is. It's just a second floor porch in the front.
Just putting up a porch.
Oh, and a second floor addition.
Do the board members have the plans?
I don't have them.
No.
Yeah.
Once again, I will try and show this to you. I'm not making any promises as to how clear this is.
Do we have a picture of the site?
I submitted one. I have it here as well. If you put on.
Can you see that?
Yes.
Is that the plans? This is Lynn, that's the plans?
Yes, sir.
Okay, everybody on the board see that?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Yes.
Pardon me, I spend the rest of the meeting trying to refold this.
Throw it to the side. We
I'm
get it
just gonna
later.
refold it later.
That's all.
I'm not home, I can't do that. Okay, we have a memo from the building department dated February 21st. We have no objections to the application. All right, this is just about a 9-foot variance that we're looking to do here. Anybody in the board have a comment on it? No? Anybody in the audience have a comment on it? Now is the time to speak up. Robin, let me know if anybody wants.
I have a question. The existing structure does not violate the setbacks?
Not according to what the application is. John, anything on that?
Not that I'm aware of.
Okay, so basically we're adding a porch and a second-story addition above the porch, and that's why the variance or the need for the variance arises. Is that correct?
John?
Yes.
Yes.
All right, thank you.
There's two Johns. I know it's tough. I can't really look at. I usually at the board table I look at somebody, but I can't today. I'm looking at everybody at the same time. All right.
Can we do a site visit on this?
I wish I could tell you. I don't recall if we did one back in February for this meeting or not. I believe we did. I don't think it's not a big variance. I think it's not going to change any part of the character of the neighborhood. It's going to be improvement actually to the look of the structure. Anybody have any comments on that from the board? Any other opinions on that?
I'm trying to refresh my memory. Is this what's the style of the house? Is it a cape or a ranch? What are we looking at?
Is Glenn?
It's a ranch.
Ranch.
One-story
Okay.
ranch.
Bob, if you remember, this one was right off Allen Avenue.
Okay, I remember now. Thanks. So it's similar then to all the other houses around Allen.
It's not going to change. It's not going to change anything in the neighborhood.
Okay.
Okay, I would move that we grant the application for a proposed second floor addition with a rear yard setback of 21.08 feet. A minimum of 30 feet is required at 2032 Breton Court with the stipulation that this pertains only to the requested variance, not the remainder of the property line, and that the addition be built in substantial conformity to the plan submitted. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Okay. Our next application.
Sorry, so
Yeah.
what do I, sorry, what do
Your
I do
application
next?
was
What's my next
was
step?
granted. You're going to be getting your the decision. You won't get a decision until next month after the minutes are done. You can discuss with Mr. Landy. Give him a call in his office. He'll tell you what your next steps are.
Okay, perfect.
Okay?
Thank you. I appreciate your time.
You're welcome.
Yep, thank you much.
Is Mr. Filagamo on board?
Yes. Yeah, I'm here.
Yes.
Yes,
Mhm.
I'm here.
Okay. Filagamo is an application accessory apartment. Previous one expired back in 1997. Per our legal department, they said one of the mailings was not sent out. That was to Mr. Tambasio. There was no mailing to him, and he was a neighbor that was required to get a mailing.
That I mailed them out to the people that I got the list from.
That's the message I got from the legal department. But in addition, home wasn't inspected by the building department yet because of COVID situation, so they couldn't come in.
Yeah,
So in any event, we wouldn't be able to consider it until they inspect the apartment anyway.
I sent him pictures. He told me to send him pictures.
Yeah, they can't do that virtually because they have to make sure everything's working properly.
Okay.
So I'm not going to open it because we don't have proper mailings. What I suggest you do is we're gonna put this over for next month because the building inspector still has to get in, so we'll see if he can do that before the next month's meeting. But I would ask you to contact our town attorney's office and see what the situation was with the mailings.
Yeah, because I mean, this is the second time I did all those mailings, and it's just what I got.
I don't know why. That's the message I got.
Yeah,
So I don't have the actual mailings.
So I'll go.
Ask them in the office. But in the meantime, we have to put it over anyway.
Yeah.
So work that out with them and work it out with the building department as far as an inspection. Once they're permitted to go in, we'll see what they can do.
So I need to call the building department.
Contact the building department and contact the town attorney's office about the mailings.
Okay. And who do I speak to at the building department?
Says to John Landy.
Oh, John. Okay. And
He can actually talk to any one of the clerks, and they can make an appointment for someone to go out and inspect the apartment.
okay. And
Get
now,
that?
will I have to mail all 8 of these again, or just
Talk
the
to the
one?
town attorney's office first and see if there's a problem with that one mailing. If it was somebody that you didn't have to mail to, then no, you don't have to.
Oh, know what I think that was? It could be the house right next door to me got sold to the Lennison,
Right.
and I mailed it to them, and they never told me to.
Yeah, talk to the town attorney's office, see if you can figure that out with them, so you may not have to do all the mailings again.
Okay, and your next meeting is June
June
what?
25th,
June 25th. This same procedure like this?
correct. Hopefully, well, I would hope not, but probably.
All right. So
All right, so I move that we adjourn this to next month. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, we'll see you next month.
Gordon,
Thank you.
if I may, just Mr. Filagamo, you can ask for Peggy Ann Thorpe in the town attorney's office, and I just alerted her to the issue, so she should be aware.
yeah, I spoke to her last week, and I sent her all the receipts and the picture. I thought I had everything.
Yeah, she's the one who told me it was missing.
Yeah, it's probably because, like I said, that house just got sold, and
Right.
the new owners probably, I didn't get the address of the new owners. I had the old owners, and I mailed it to them. That's probably
Okay.
the problem. So I'll talk to Peggy Ann.
All right,
All right. Thank you, guys.
you're very welcome.
Stay safe.
Our next applicant is Zuckerman. Zuckerman present?
Hello.
Yes, there you are. Okay.
Hi, my name is Nora Hildinger. I'm here representing Charlotte Zuckerman.
Okay, let me read this in. This is application to allow an existing addition with a side yard setback of 20 feet where a minimum of 30 feet is required and a combined side yard setback of 76 feet, a minimum of 80 feet is required at 1287 Baldwin Road. The mailings were in order for our legal department. Again, you just want to give us your name for the record again, please?
My name is Nora Hildinger.
And what's your position with the applicant?
I am the agent representing the applicant.
All right, you want to just tell us what the nature of the
Okay.
addition is?
This is for the property at 1287 Baldwin Road. The home has been owned by Charlotte Zuckerman since 1969. Mrs. Zuckerman passed away in October 2019, and Kat Gilliam Cunningham is the executor of the will and Charlotte Zuckerman's daughter. The existing addition that I'm seeking the variance for is a sunroom, which has existed in its present state since 1979. The existing addition has a side yard setback of 20 feet, where 30 is required, and a combined side yard setback of 76 feet, where 80 is required. It would be an economic hardship to meet the R180 zoning requirement. This hardship was not self-created. Miss Kat Gillian Cunningham inherited the house from her mother back in October when her mother passed away. The sunroom has existed in its present state since 1979. If the variance is granted, it will not alter the essential character of the neighborhood. For these reasons, I respectfully request a variance of 10 feet for side yard setback and 4 feet for combined. Thanks.
I believe we did a site visit on this back in February, I think.
I believe you did.
This was pretty far off the road.
Correct. You could barely even see it from the road.
And I think when we went there was actually an agent in the house when we knocked on the door.
Oh, a real estate agent?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. All right. The memo from the building department dated March 20th. They have no objections to granting the requested relief. Like I said, we did a site visit on this. It doesn't appear to me that this is going to have any negative impact on the neighborhood as far as the character of the neighborhood. It's been there so long, it kind of is the character of the neighborhood.
Agreed.
Anybody in the board have a comment on this?
When this was erected, was there a permit? Was there, did the zoning change or what created
It just
the
was
problem?
built. It was just
It
built.
just was built without
It
permit?
was just built without a permit.
Okay.
Anybody else have a comment? Anybody from the audience have a comment on the application? Robin, anybody there?
No, we have no one.
Okay, I would move then that we grant the application to allow an existing addition with a side yard setback of 20 feet. A minimum of 30 is required, and a combined side yard setback of 76 feet. A minimum of 80 is required at 1287 Baldwin Road with the usual stipulation. This pertains only to the requested variance, not the remainder of the property line. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye. Aye.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
The next application is Wright.
Hello?
Anybody present on Wright?
Yes, Charles Wright.
Okay. This is an application to replace an existing porch with the same setback of 27 feet. A minimum of 40 feet is required at 3330 Peter Lane. Good evening. Give us your name for the record, please.
Charles Wright.
Okay, and this is just, you're taking down an old porch and putting up a new one?
Yeah.
They have,
Same footprint?
Yeah, I can.
I have some photos here if I could get them to everybody by looking at it. This looks like this is it, isn't it?
Yes. You can see there's the concrete.
So it's just
porch
going to
there.
that stairway.
Yeah, I just want to take down the concrete because it's chipped and some of the stairs are uneven and rebuild a wooden one. But the house is like 41 feet from the street. So to get the proper, distance to go down the stairs, it needs to be.
That's just another view.
Yeah.
There's a very large dog behind you.
Yeah, that's our German Shepherd.
We did a site visit on. We did a site visit on this property as well. Way back when, in the good old days, as we'll remember them. We have a memo from the building department dated March 12th. They just state they did an inspection on the property. Anybody on the board have a comment on the application?
So that's going to be replaced with the wood instead of the concrete?
Yeah, so what the architect has is knock down everything that's, the cinder block up, there's footings, and then there'll be a wood substructure, and I probably want to use Trex or something like that for the decking and the railing, but it could be just pressure treated, painted eventually too, but
Yeah, for some reason, like concrete steps don't generally require a variance, so I guess a wood structure does. Many houses, including mine, have a large hill, and the concrete or the bricks or whatever are always part of that in the setback with the framed wood type entry becomes a setback issue, but I do see why you're replacing it because the aesthetics are
Is there going to be are you going to put a porch on this? You're going to put a cover over the stairs?
no cover. It's just the stairs and railings.
Okay.
Did I ask anybody in the audience for a comment? Did I ask on this one yet?
No, you didn't?
No.
Anybody?
I don't see anybody.
Okay. All right, this is also, it appears to be a minor variance, although it's 13 feet, but given the layout of the property and what the applicant's looking to do, It's not going to, I don't think it's have any kind of negative impact on the neighborhood. I would move that we grant the application to replace an existing porch with the same setback of 27 feet, minimum 40 is required at 3330 Peter Lane, with the usual stipulation this pertains only to the requested variance, not the remainder of the property line, and that it be built in substantial conformity to the plan submitted. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Yeah, one little wrinkle is, so the plans that we submitted at first were there was like a curve and going into that like nook next to the stairs, next to that electric meter and things, because the architect said, oh, if you put it behind the garage, you wouldn't need the variance. But Brad, the building inspector assigned to it, denied that permit. But so I asked him, well, can you write the denial letter such that I could have it in the same place and not need that jog and extra footings and more space? And he said that he could do it that way.
Well, the application says same setback.
Yeah, it's the same setback, but the plans that I submitted are.
But what's built there is what you're actually leaving there, correct?
Yeah, that's exactly what I want to do. What's there
instead
already.
of saying build per plans submitted, I'm going to change it to as already built.
Yeah, in that same footprint is exactly what I'm looking to do.
Okay, thank you.
All right, thank you. Have a
Our next applicant is Di Bartolo.
Hello.
Good evening, Mr. Di Bartolo.
Hello.
Hello. We're here. We're here.
All right. How's everybody?
We're doing good.
Doing good, thank you.
This is an application for a proposed accessory building with a side yard setback of 5 feet, where a minimum of 30 feet is required. A combined side yard setback of 59.6 feet, minimum of 80 is required. A height of 20 feet 7 1/8 inches, where a maximum of 15 feet is required at 1056 Underhill Avenue. Would you give us your name for the record, please?
Eric Di Bartolo, owner.
Okay, Eric, just run us through your application.
Putting it up for a garage to put my cars in, just a pole barn. I have nothing right now. I have 2 of my cars underneath tarps, and I build old cars, so I'm looking for a place to put my vehicles. There'll be strictly storage upstairs through a scuttleway. Other than that, it's matching the house as far as what siding, what roofing, everything is going to stay the same. I just want it to look real nice.
John, and that's John Landy. John, I don't see a building department memo in here. Was one done?
I believe there was one done and sent in.
Anybody have it in their file?
We don't have any objection.
I just don't know if I just want to put in the record if there was an actual memo done. Does anybody have it in their file?
No. Nope.
No.
I know we sent that in a long time ago.
All right, but there's no objection, correct?
None. No
Okay.
objection.
So I have your plans that you submitted. This is the basic structure, correct?
Yes. That's it.
That's it?
That is it.
Any changes to it?
Nope.
Now, what size property are you on?
2.1 acres.
And where on the property is this structure going?
It's going to go directly across from where my house is. So
the back?
The side of the house. So if you're looking at my house, it'll be
your house. Now your house is on the very end of Underhill Avenue at the Taconic, correct?
Yes, we're on the Taconic. My neighbor is the Taconic.
So as you're facing the house and the Taconic is on the left, where's the barn?
On the left.
So between the house and the Taconic.
Yes, it's between the house and the Taconic State Parkway.
And how far from the parkway is it?
Well, the ramp is there. That's 15, 20 feet from the ramp. That's my property. My property runs right along the edge of the Taconic. Matter of fact, the property, when they redid the Taconic years and years ago, they moved the ramp and everything over. So some of the property was taken away, was under condemnation many, 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 many years ago.
And you said the reason for the height variance was for storage?
Yeah, storage upstairs.
And that's not going to be finished space?
No.
Anybody on the board?
I went from a very large house to a very small house, and now I have boxes everywhere. So I'm just looking for a place to put stuff.
All right. Anybody on the board have a comment on this?
I got a question only in that because the Taconic Parkway is a scenic parkway, as far as views from what can be seen from the road, was there any restrictions from the Taconic Parkway Authority or any of that as far as structure? I know there's visual impact.
I don't have the mailings, the actual. I don't know what if DOT was contacted or not, as required.
DOT was contacted. I remember from the first meeting, Gordon, you had let me know that you sent it to them.
Okay.
And I sent the letters. I haven't received anything back. There are quite high trees that I have there, and I put in another.
You put up a whole row of trees.
I put in 150 abrevieties because the noise coming off the Taconic sometimes could be a little loud. So I'm just looking for privacy.
Okay. And I would know we did a site visit at the house, and there was a whole new row of trees put up right along the side of the Taconic. And the property was cleaned up and fairly well maintained.
Thank you.
Anybody else on the board have a comment?
I think the garage is, relative to the driveway also. That's part of the reason why on a 2-acre property, you can't just shove the garage, somewhere else. It wouldn't really make sense to.
Right, there is no other garage.
Yeah. Right. So there's no put it in the back or anything like that on something like this.
Right.
It all depends on where the man cave is going to go. Just further from the house.
No. Just as long as my tools and my car's going there, it'll be great.
Anybody who's watching us have any comments on the application? Anybody there, Robin?
No, no one's there. Peggy Ann also just wanted to let you know that it was sent to the county.
And there's nothing in the file from them, so.
No.
Okay. We don't seem to be as popular as we usually are. So. Okay, given all that we've heard, I would move that we grant the application for a proposed accessory building with a side yard setback of 5 feet, where a minimum of 30 feet is required, and a combined side yard setback of 59.6 feet, where a minimum of 80 feet is required, a height of 20 feet 7 1/8 inches, where a maximum of 15 is permitted, at 1056 Underhill Avenue, with the usual stipulation that this pertains to the requested variance only, not the remainder of the property line, and that the structure be built to substantial conformity to the plan submitted. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor? All right.
Aye.
Okay.
Thank you very much, gentlemen and
You're
ladies.
welcome. All right, we have Yorktown Jazz. That was Mike Grace. You on?
Yeah, I'm here.
I see his name, but I don't see his face. He must be there. All right, this is an application to relocate an existing sign with a new setback of 0 feet, where a minimum of 5 feet is required. This is at 3220 Compound Road. That's the Lowe's Shopping Center. Good evening, Mr. Grace Revio. There you are.
Yeah.
Want to run us through your application?
Excuse me?
Want to run us through your application?
Oh, this is for the monument sign that's on pad B, which is a middle pad that is now being developed with the Starbucks. And in order to accommodate some of the infrastructure on that pad B, which is a middle pad, the freestanding sign has to move closer to the property line. You maybe recall that the DOT did a taking in front of the entire property.
Right, when they made the road bigger.
Right. So I think they shortened it by the front yard by 25 feet. So this is just to accommodate the relocation of the existing monument sign closer to the front property line. It's not clear how close it's going to be, so that's why the variance is for 0, where 5 would otherwise be required. It's going to land somewhere between the two dimensions.
We have a couple of memos. We have one dated March 12th from the Planning Board. They met on March 9th. Sign will be over 10 feet away from the curb line on Route 202 and therefore will not cause any significant impacts. Approved by the Planning Board on October 7, 2019, so they have no objection. We have a memo from the ABACA. They also have no objection. We have a memo from the building department. The Abaca memo was dated March 12th. The building department memo was dated March 6th. They have no objection. So, that being said, anybody on the board have any comments on this? No, okay. Anybody watching us have any comments on this?
No, there's no additional people in the meeting.
Okay, based upon all of that, I move that we grant the application to relocate an existing sign with a new setback of 0 feet, a minimum of 5 feet required at 3220 Crown Pound Road. I also move that the stipulation be that it's, did you submit a sample to Abaca and to the planning board?
It's the exact same sign that's there, just being
Okay.
moved. So it's
As
not.
to the, so it's as to the existing sign.
Yeah, it's just the existing sign.
Correct, it's as to the existing sign?
Excuse me?
It's an existing sign?
It's the sign that is already there. That's just being
Right.
moved.
So it's just relocating the existing sign. Okay, so just we don't have to add any stipulation. So I move that that be granted. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, gentlemen and ladies. Everyone's well, I take it?
So far.
Get up, get out of bed. It's another day.
We're never well.
Well,
I believe that concludes everything we have on the agenda. I would therefore move that we adjourn this meeting to next month. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Good night. We're adjourned and happy zoning.